Take a look at the person next to you. Say God loves you and I love you too. Now feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love, we come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love. Now look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. Oh, we come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, from every walk of life, every walk of life, every creed and color, every creed and color, in kinship we unite. In honor of the God in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. I feel the love in the sanctuary. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. Oh, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, 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 we come together. In the name of love, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together, we come together. In the name of love, we come together, 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 we come together.
Welcome. Please stand as we join Kim Shar Meredith as she sings Head to Heart to Hands.
Well, hello, my friends. So nice to be with you. We're going to be doing a song called Head to Heart to Hands. I invite you to not only sing along, but join along in some hand motions. And I'm going to have Kim Char, too, right here. Say hello. Guide you in that. Sound good? I just didn't want you to be surprised when she comes back. Okay, you can go. Thank you.
I love it.
Actually, come on back right now. Here's the chorus. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Let's sing that chorus again. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. A mighty river is flowing, bringing life to the land. Abundance flows as I fully extend, from head to heart to hands. Chorus again. Through me, Spirit move through me, from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through Verse 2, I share from the bounty because I understand more blessings flow as I simply let it roll from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me from head to heart to hands. Through me, Spirit move through me from head to heart to hands. From head to heart to hands. From head to heart to hands.
You may be seated. Today we light the Christ candle, joining hearts and minds together across the many miles with unity of Lawrence, Kansas. Let's bow our heads for a moment. Divine Spirit, as we open our service, we rejoice to be in your presence, and we rejoice to be with each other. There is such a wonderful feeling of togetherness in this room, and we are so grateful for that feeling. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in us. God the good, our loving Creator, who made us in your image. You made us in your image so that we may live, love, and grow as Jesus did in his time. As we do that, we grow ever closer to you. Thank you for your presence in our lives. Amen.
Good morning. We are so glad that you are here to join us today for worship. We extend a special welcome to those of you visiting today for the first time. On your way in today, you should have received a welcome packet. We also have a gift for you. Please see one of our greeters after today's service. We are also blessed and grateful to have an online following. If you are inspired by Unity of Springfield's message, please be sure to share our Sunday service on social media platforms. Thank you. Unity is a worldwide spiritual movement. We are an inclusive community, and we welcome all people. Announcements for today. Tuesday at 11 a.m., we will host our Silent Unity prayer service in Zoom. Wednesday at 5:30 p.m., Karen will lead the gathering meditation via Zoom. You are invited to participate in the monthly Healing Crystal Bowls meditation on Thursday, May 5th at 6 p.m. Immerse yourself in the soothing, healing vibrations as we send harmony, peace, and balance into our community and into our world. Suggested love offering of $15. Next week, our guest speaker will be Reverend Charlene Manuel. We hope you plan to join us. I saw this and I thought, oh no, she's not coming till May. And then next Sunday is May. Time flies when you're having fun. I did notice, that we're linked to Unity of Lawrence, Kansas, which is, of course, home of the Kansas Jayhawks, who, under former Illini coach Bill Self, won the basketball national championship. And I can only imagine the number of Jayhawk updates they got in April. Do you like meeting new people and enjoying a festive environment? then make plans to volunteer and join us at the Unity of Springfield tent at Pride Fest on May 21st. Sign-up sheets are inside the front door of the church. 2-hour time slot blocks are preferred or more. Help out, come back, and take a break and come back. At least 2 staffers per hour are needed. Bring a friend or two. It's kid-friendly. And if you have questions, call Molly Hall at 217-840-1923. In my box here at church, I had a card from Reverend Christine today that was addressed to Unity of Springfield, so I'll share it with you all. Dear Unity of Springfield, thank you for all the shared blessings of our time together. I appreciate the time it took to organize a luncheon in Kane Hall, the card, and the gift. I have been blessed. Until we meet again, peace, my friends, Reverend Christine. Emails are sent out weekly that have information on how to join in events also. Check out our website for up-to-date information at unityofspringfieldil.org. That's Unity of Springfield IL, all lowercase, all run together, .org. Creating our lives and our world through the thoughts and beliefs we hold in mind is a spiritual principle we practice at Unity of Springfield. We also know this truth: together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the source of all good. Our Unity vision statement, again, together: a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And our Unity mission statement, again, together: we recognize God is love, individualized in all people. Therefore, we provide a positive environment for spiritual growth that empowers all to be God's love in the world. And now Deb Smith will come up and share with us today's daily word.
Good morning. The word for today is gather. The affirmation: we gather and magnify the presence of God. As I gather with others in the spirit of love and peace, my awareness of God's presence becomes more powerful, even palpable. Together we create an energy, a vibration greater than any of us has alone. I am comfortable and at ease when I notice our differing appearances, preferences, backgrounds, and opinions, because I am reminded of the limitless diversity of divine expression and my place in it. When I join in fellowship with my family, friends, and all others who are dear to me, each one of us becomes a mirror for the others. We see in one another the divine presence that lives in and expresses as every person. The unifying energy of divine love unites and binds us together. In this love, we are one. And from the scriptures, Psalm 133, verse 1, how very good and pleasant it is when kindred live together in unity. Again, the word for today is gather, and the affirmation, please join me. We gather and magnify the presence of God. Thank you.
And now, Dave Tell, my sweet husband, will play meditation music for us. Sometimes you have to make adjustments. Slowly now, we begin to quiet ourselves, taking a deep breath or two before we begin. We are one with the inner spirit of light, love, and peace. We are one. One together, one with spirit, one with the inner spirit of light, love, and peace. I let my divine light shine. My light shines and glows and lights the way for me. My divine light, my soul light. I am a channel through which spirit can express. And I share my light with others to help guide their way. I live the truth of my being, which is divine love. As I appreciate nature, flowers, bird songs, all the beauty of the natural world, I express love. In quiet meditation and in joyful singing, I express love. In relationships with family, friends, co-workers, and even people I do not know, I express love. In my work and play, in my service to others, I express love. I live and move and have my being in love. I am peace. I breathe in the peace of spirit I practice peace. I am a peaceful presence, and I express the peace of God. Peacefully now we enter into the silence. The silence. Refreshed and renewed, I return to this time and this place. I am so grateful for Spirit's presence in my life. I know Spirit is with me every moment of the day, guiding me, loving me, and blessing me. Thank you, Divine Spirit. Amen. Thank you, Dave. Today, the second one of our founders, Myrtle Fillmore, Mother of Unity. Myrtle Fillmore was born August 5th, 1845 in Youngstown, Ohio. She was named Mary Caroline Page and was the 8th of 9 children born to Marcus and Lucy Page. As a child, she was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and she had several bouts of illness. But that was not totally unexpected because there were other members in her family who had experienced the same disease. And at that time, there was no treatment except to move to a drier climate. Myrtle's father was very fond of his little girl. He used to love to swing his children around in play, and when he would swing her around, he would sing out, "Myrtle," or "Myrtle Lee." Then he just started calling her Myrtle. Even though her mother still called her Mary Caroline, the name Myrtle stuck, and she was soon called Myrtle Page. Both parents were avid churchgoers and members of the Methodist Church. Myrtle attended but never joined because she did not agree with their doctrine, particularly about sin, etc. She was very intelligent and very curious, and she really loved school. She learned quickly and got good grades. Myrtle always wanted to read books her older brothers and her parents read, but that wasn't allowed. So she would borrow their books and quietly go off to read them. In those days, women were not able to get a college degree, so Myrtle did what she could. She enrolled in the literary course for ladies at Oberlin College in Oberlin, Ohio. Sorry. It was a one-year course, at the end of which Myrtle qualified to teach in school. Myrtle was hired to teach in Clinton, Missouri in 1868. She loved the small town of Clinton, and she thoroughly enjoyed teaching, but the dampness was not good for her lungs. Doctors advised her to move to Denison, Texas, where the climate would be better for her. In 1876, Myrtle moved to Denison, Texas, where she supported herself with private tutoring. She also joined the literary club. Another member of the club was a young man named Charles Fillmore. One evening, when the red-haired, vivacious Myrtle was giving a presentation, Charles was looking at her, and something inside him said, "There's your wife, Charles." The two of them had already found each other attractive. They began talking after club meetings and walking together. They had wonderful conversations about many things. They also learned they both had fairly similar opinions about spirituality and that both were exploring. The climate in Denison was good for Myrtle, but after only a year, she decided to return to Clinton, Missouri to teach. Myrtle and Charles were keeping in touch with letters, which became more frequent and more inquiring. After all, they didn't have internet or texting in those days. In 1881, Charles wrote Myrtle and asked her to marry him, and she accepted. Myrtle was 35 years old when they married, and Charles was 26. They were married on March 29th in Clinton. The same day, they left for Charles' home in Gunnison, Colorado. The mountain location was good for Myrtle health-wise, and she loved the beauty. By July 1881, though, they had moved again, this time to Pueblo, Colorado. Pueblo was growing fast, and the real estate market was booming. Charles began selling insurance along with being in real estate. On January 4th, 1882, their first son was born. He was named Lowell Page Fillmore. Their second son, Waldo Rickert Fillmore, was born June 1st, 1884. Charles asked his mother, who lived alone, to come live with him to help take care of the boys. She was glad to accommodate them, and Mary Georgiana Fillmore came to live with them. She was not much different in age from Myrtle. They had liked each other from the beginning and soon were fast friends. That friendship enriched them both, and Mary Fillmore lived with them for the rest of her life. The real estate boom had ended, and they decided to move on. They stopped briefly in Omaha, Nebraska over the winter, and then went on to Kansas City, Missouri. Charles began in real estate again. He helped develop Gladstone Heights, which is now a lovely older area in Kansas City. In a very short time, he was doing very well and was even prospering. Once again, Myrtle became very ill, and doctors gave her 6 months to live. Doctors recommended the Fillmores return out west, but Charles had a dream in which he was guided to stay in Kansas City because he had a good work to do there. When that dream repeated itself, the Fillmores felt they needed to stay. In the spring of 1886, a Christian Science practitioner from Chicago came to town to present a series of lectures. His name was E.B. Weeks. Friends encouraged Myrtle and Charles to attend, and they did. This was a turning point for Myrtle in regard to her health. She heard the words, "I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness." She told a friend later, "It was such a wonderful time for me when I awakened to the truth that I inherit only good from God." Myrtle could not get the words, "I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness," out of her mind. She began repeating it as an affirmation. She kept on with it, letting it permeate her being to the depths of her being. She also talked to her body and affirmed health throughout her entire body. She went to her Bible and studied the healings of Jesus. In a few months, she felt better, and by a year later, she was healed. As a matter of fact, Myrtle was radiantly healthy, more healthy than she had ever been in her life. In 1889, the Fillmores' third son, John Royal, was born. This was a happy time for the Fillmores, but a very difficult time financially for Kansas City. The Fillmores still felt positive because they trusted God to see them through. Mrs. Fillmore was a wonderful cook, and she could make food stretch a long way, which certainly helped. After her healing occurred, Myrtle wrote an article telling Charles, friends, and family what had happened. The book, Torchbearer to Light the Way by Neil Volley, quotes from that article. It says, "I have made what seems to me a discovery. I was fearfully sick. I had all the ills of mind and body that I could bear. Medicine and the doctors had ceased to give me relief, and I was in despair when I found practical Christianity. I took it up, and I was healed. I did most of the healing myself because I wanted the understanding for future use. This is how I made my discovery. I was thinking about life. Life is everywhere. Life is simply a form of energy and has to be guided and directed in man's body by his intelligence. How do we communicate intelligence? By thinking and talking, of course. Then it flashed on me that I might talk to the life in my body and have it do just what I wanted. I began to teach my body and got marvelous results." Charles was so amazed by Myrtle's healing and by her growing spirituality that he decided, and I quote from the book, The Essential Charles Fillmore by Jim Gaither, "In this Babel, I will go to headquarters. If I am spirit and God is spirit, we can somehow communicate, or the whole thing is a fraud." In Hugh DeAndrade's book, Charles Fillmore, is this quote, "I sat in the silence every night at a certain hour and tried to get in touch with God," end quote. At first, Not knowing what he was doing, he simply tried every possible way he could think of. Then gradually he realized he was getting somewhere. He felt close to God and felt God close to him. His health was improving, and he decided to focus on all his ailments: his right eye, his right ear, and the whole right side of his body. Soon, hearing and vision improved. After a while, he was able to walk without the iron brace for his right leg that he had used for so many years. The right leg fleshed out and became nearly as strong as his left leg. He would still walk with a limp and need a special shoe for that foot, but the improvement was remarkable. Now, you may remember from my talk about Charles that the problem with the right leg began with a skating accident when he was young. With both of them feeling healthy now, life was much more fun. Charles was so inspired by his spiritual growth that he had lost interest in real estate. He found he wanted to share how he had healed and how he had become close to God. He decided he wanted to continue his metaphysical studies. Then, out of the blue, he decided to write a publication. Myrtle was in favor of that, so Charles made it happen in spite of their tight financial situation at that time. Meanwhile, a good number of people had noticed the good health and radiant faces of both Charles and Myrtle. A number had come forth to find out how they could experience healing for themselves. And Myrtle began working with them in earnest because she really wanted to help people. Then they decided to start an evening prayer group for all who wished to come. This would be at 10 p.m. in their living room. Later, they would change the time to 9 p.m. for farmers who wished to attend but found the 10 p.m. hour to be too late. The prayer group was very popular. In 1890, they began the practice of absent healing from their home to pray for people who had written to them about their needs. This evolved into one of the most popular of their services, known today as Silent Unity. One evening in the spring of 1891, Charles and Myrtle were praying with a group of truth students when the name Unity flashed into Charles' mind. That's it, he thought. And so the name Unity came to be the name of their publication and the name of their spiritual movement. Years later, Charles explained how the beliefs that became known as Unity began. He said, "We have borrowed the best from all religions. Unity is the truth that is taught in all religions, simplified and systematized so that anyone can understand and apply it." In the first 5 years that the first publication thought, which was one of several titles the Fillmores used early on, they had hundreds of readers. At first, all the work was done by Myrtle and Charles, but soon Lowell was old enough, and he wanted to help, so they welcomed him. As the publication grew in readership, it was moved to several locations in Kansas City. Myrtle helped as much as she could, along with her housekeeping and mothering duties. In the first few years of the Unity movement were devoted to the development of Silent Unity, the publications of Unity, We Wisdom, and establishing a Sunday school and classes for teaching truth. Silent Unity began as a small prayer group to address the written requests for prayer that were sent them, as I said before. At first, Myrtle and Charles, with a volunteer or two as needed, could handle all the prayer needs. Charles would pray until 2 a.m. Then Myrtle would awaken and handle prayers until morning. Before long, more people needed to be trained and employed to handle the ever-increasing volume of prayer requests. Today, Silent Unity employs, excuse me. Today, Silent Unity employees pray over hundreds of thousands of letters. We Wisdom was a magazine Myrtle began that was written solely for children. Her boys helped Myrtle with ideas and stories for the magazine. I, as you see, had saved a copy of the magazine, which was last printed in the early 1990s. As a child, I absolutely loved that magazine. It taught truth in ways children can really understand. And my copy was always dog-eared by the end of the month. In a short time, there were so many people attending Unity activities that they simply ran out of space. Their next location was at 913 Tracy Avenue, where they ended up taking the entire block and then some. Dave and I had the privilege of visiting there when we went to Unity for classes one summer, and it was beautiful, wasn't it, Dave? Their first real building for church services was there. There was a lovely big congregational room on the first floor with a platform for Myrtle and Charles and room for any musicians they had. There were meeting rooms on the second floor. Myrtle and Charles had their offices on the third floor. There was also a basement gathering space for other meetings with a large congregational room. Again, it wasn't long before they needed more space. And this part of Kansas City was also becoming industrialized. This time, they decided to look outside the city, in the countryside, beautiful wooded countryside. At first, they bought 58 acres, which they called Unity Farm. In the beginning, they simply planned for a quiet place in the country for Unity employees to relax and restore on the weekends. It wasn't long before they had increased their size to 1,400 acres. In 1927, it was decided to move their next meeting location to Unity Farm. Reverend Fillmore, Charles and Myrtle's middle son, was the architect for the buildings that would need to be done. First, they needed water. But whenever they tried to dig for water, they struck oil. Sad, right? That wasn't what they wanted, of course, but it did help finance the building. Rickert flooded 22 or more acres to make a large lake. A water tower that would supply all the community's water needs came next. The tower is still there, of course, 165 feet tall, a beautiful tower that is a landmark throughout the area. Cindy and I went to the top the last summer when we were there, and it was spectacular. Then the Silent Unity building was built. There is a small cupola at the top of the building in which a light shines. You can see it for miles, and it is known as the light that shines for you. Work began in earnest to create the beautiful garden village that Charles wanted. And in the spring of 1929, Unity was able to move into what became known as Unity Village, a truly magnificent place. You'll remember Silent Unity came about because the Fillmores believed in God, a God that is present everywhere at all times. God is energy. God is divine presence, etc. Most of all, though, God is indescribable, the center of the universe and the center of our lives. In the book Myrtle Fillmore, Mother of Unity by Thomas E. Witherspoon, are some lovely descriptions of Myrtle, and I quote, "Myrtle loved Charles. She respected him and she believed in him. She stood beside him and grew along with him through the lean years of their marriage. She saw him unfold magnificently into what many consider a 20th century spiritual leader. She watched him in his struggles in the 1880s to find God, and she prayed and meditated alongside him. She watched him after her healing as he began to take hold of the healing idea in his mind, and she witnessed the change that came over him mentally, physically, and spiritually. Myrtle was the perfect balance necessary for Charles' metaphysical growth. Spiritual devotion and his mischievous humor, too. An example of that occurred in a public setting. At the time, Myrtle pretended great shock, but was really quite amused when Charles pointed out that there could not possibly be any women in heaven. "Can't you see?" he said. "Right here in Revelation, it says that for a space of a half hour, there was perfect silence." Charles and Myrtle had a life of adventure, love, personal growth, and satisfaction in doing the work God wanted them to do. They were married for 50 years. Among their happiest of these were the last 5 or 6 years, when despite their equally busy schedules, they were able to spend a great deal of time together at the Arches, their little home at Unity. And that ends the quote from Myrtle Fillmore, Mother of Unity by Witherspoon. There came a time in 1931 when Myrtle was 86 and still in marvelously good health that she felt it was almost time to leave this life. She confided in family and co-workers that she thought she had accomplished all she could in this life, and she would soon pass on. The last week of her life, she followed the same schedule she had been on for some time. Wednesday, she helped Charles lead the Wednesday night service and meditation. Thursday, she was at her desk writing letters and talking to people who stopped by. Friday and Saturday, she relaxed at their home at Unity Village. She walked around, sat on the porch, listened to the birds, and even picked a few apples in the orchard. On Sunday, close friends of the Fillmores stopped by, and Myrtle told Tesla that she felt she would be leaving this life soon. Tesla is quoted in the book Myrtle Fillmore, Mother of Unity, as saying, quote, "She was so calm, so peaceful, and so beautiful. She told me her work was done on this side and it was time to go. and help from the other side. 2 days later, on Tuesday, October 6th, 1931, Myrtle made her transition peacefully at the age of 86. Myrtle Page Fillmore was an incredibly strong woman who followed her guidance from God throughout her life. From the time she healed her body with God's guidance, she stayed healthy and strong. At the age of 86, she rejoiced in her love of climbing stairs, and she had climbed many during her life. She loved the simple things. From childhood on, she loved nature and rejoiced in its beauty. She loved her family and the wonderful close times they had together. She loved people, and she loved helping them. She loved to work, and she worked hard at growing unity and keeping her family safe and strong. She kept a close relationship with Spirit and felt God was unlimited in all ways and present everywhere. Her life was a life of love, of prayer, and of dedication to unity, which she helped grow from the beginning to the worldwide movement it is today. So this Sunday, we honor Myrtle Fillmore, Mother of Unity. Namaste. And now, let us either physically or figuratively take our gifts, our love offerings in our hands. We know that as we give, so also we receive. We give thanks for all our blessings. We are so grateful for all Spirit provides to us, and we gladly share a portion of what we have to help others. Amen. Now it is time to stand, say our prayer for protection, and go into the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And now the peace song.
Okay, Unity of Springfield, let's go forth in peace and as peace. Together. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be with God our Creator. We are family. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. blessings.